Welcome to Building Toronto's Skyline, a podcast exploring the current state of Toronto's condominium industry from a unique construction perspective through engaging and entertaining podcast interviews with the many stakeholders in the industry. This podcast is brought to you by Fusion Corp, a construction management company. Here's the founder and CEO of Fusion Corp Developments, Inc., and author of Building Toronto's Skyline and Battle of the Skyscrapers, the host of this podcast, Nick Ainis.
Yeah, baby, yeah. Where's the audience applause? We got to get that in there sometime.
Well, you need to give me a heads up. I'm always worried I'll press the wrong button here. There we go.
Yeah, all right.
Sweat's dripping off my brow over
Hello,
here.
everyone. Thank you for coming. I like that sound effects. It's good.
So, Nick, how's it going? We have a back-to-back this morning. Did you take your B12? How you feeling?
I don't know about B12, but I took something.
What did you take,
It's a
Nick?
double header. Remember we used to go to the J Games, double headers at the exhibition stadium?
Of course I do. Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing.
if
I
you went
went when
to,
I was a little kid, and
yeah?
Everybody was so drunk, running on the field, and chicks were mooning the audience. It was like
No, I remember
it's
this.
a perfect place for a kid.
I remember that if you were playing the Boston Red Sox, you knew a bunch of those bums from Boston were going to come over the border and they were going to drink cheap Canadian beer and they were going to cause a ruckus in the grandstand.
It was amazing. That's where you wanted to be. The cheap seats too.
$2 at Dominion.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
I'm
Dominion.
I'm old enough to remember that, my friend.
Wow. Well, we're the same age, so. All right. Well, let's get some video here there, Mike. Another reminder for you.
It's always going, but I had to, get that music precise for you.
We got some.
Who do we got today?
We got some upstanding gentlemen here. Really successful individuals. They happen to be American, which is, I'm not going to hold it against you guys in this climate. But it's great to be American. It's great to be Canadian, and we're all friends. And we've known each other for a while. We've got Thomas and Adam from OpenSpace AI, which is a entirely digital construction company, and they're doing some amazing things. And this is going to be a very, very exciting show today. And we want to know a lot more about this product because AI is an emerging technology. These guys are at the forefront of it, obviously, already. And it's going to shape the construction industry, in my opinion. It's going to help us build better, build faster, more economically. And I think these guys are right in the right... You know what? No pun intended, but you're in the right space already, right? So how are you doing, guys?
Doing
Very well.
Dude.
See, he's giving Bruce Buffer a little bit of a run for his money there. Hoping I could bring him on for my own personal uses there.
You know what? I'll send you my rate card.
There you go. We'll take it. See if I can pull
Okay.
some extra budget here from 2025.
There you go, Boston, eh? So welcome, guys. This is definitely going to be an exciting episode, and we're going to learn a lot about your product today. And we want our audience to hear about your how amazing the technology is in the construction industry today. And speaking of which, I always wanted a great book. Like I always like to write books. Another topic that I'm thinking of is AI in construction. That's an amazing topic to cover. So. I'm going to read this from your website. As an introduction, OpenSpace is a leading construction technology company that specializes in AI-powered reality capture and analytics. Founded in 2017 and headquartered in San Francisco. We won't hold that against you. OpenSpace provides builders with tools to document, analyze, and manage construction sites more efficiently by utilizing 360-degree imagery and advanced computer vision. Their platform creates comprehensive visual records of job sites, enabling teams to track progress, identify issues, and streamline workflows. With over 275,000 users across 94 countries, OpenSpace is transforming how construction projects are executed and manage. And you can see more at www.openspace.ai. And we've got Tom Dell'Erario.
Dell'Erario, yeah.
Dell'Erario.
Player in there that should make it happen.
You're Italian, but no one would know, right?
Certainly would not by the beach blonde hair there.
Yeah.
Quickly receding.
Looking good. You're the Tom is the director of sales in Canada, and then we've got Adam Settino. Are you Italian too, or what?
I'm a mutt, but yeah, I'm Italian.
There you go. A lot of Italians in Boston, I guess. Tough neighborhood. And you're the director solution engineers, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
That is correct.
So let's have this discussion about AI and how it's transforming construction in real time. And Thomas and Adam, welcome to the show, and tell us a little bit about your journey and what brought you into the construction tech space and specifically to OpenSpace. So let's hear from Tom. I think I've heard Tom. We know each other, so
yep.
I think I've heard your story like 5 or 6 times already.
There we go. Well, I'll do it once more. Thanks for having me on the show here. Thanks for hosting us.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, a little bit of background into myself. I'm Thomas Dell'Erario. I handle a lot of our larger and more prestigious owner and developer accounts across Canada. So the Fusion Corps of the world here. A little bit of background before joining OpenSpace. Actually, originally came from the GC side of things. Spent some time in a PM and superintendent role. It's doing mostly high-rise resi down in the States, out of Boston there. And it was a massive national firm, and they actually had a venture capital arm that was consistently looking at and investing in new technologies. And I happened to be one of the guinea pigs out on site that was oftentimes testing and leveraging these new and emerging firms. And so OpenSpace happened to be one of those technologies that I was using out on site. And then after I used it once, that was pretty much the nail in the coffin. I immediately saw the usage start getting brought up in OAC meetings, PM foreman meetings. So that ended my career in construction. I called up our then VP of sales, was able to finagle myself a job here. It was about 4 or 5 years ago, and I moved on over from construction management to the dark side of construction technology. So I lost my ego took a hit when I traded in my work boots for a pair of loafers, but I still get to go out to
You wear them well. You wear them well.
Well, you know what? I think what you're doing is amazing, and you should be very proud to take that step. And because you're at the forefront of something new and exciting, and I've used your product already, and it's a great tool for many reasons. During construction, there's a lot of great things that the software has to offer. We're going to get into that today. And Adam, now let's hear a little bit about you. How did you get in here, get to OpenSpace AI?
Yeah, so Adam Settino, Director of Solution Engineers. My quick background is I did 7 years in architecture as an architect. I made the decision to switch over to construction. And the first year I was at APM for a project up in Lowell, Massachusetts. And at the end of that, the senior VP of sales called me. He's like, "Hey, do you want to be the BIM guy?" And I was like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "I have no fucking clue. Do you want to figure it out?" Sorry, I hope I can swear in this. F-bombs are in the vernacular of Boston.
Go ahead and swear.
Thank you.
That's that kind of show.
So,
no Matt Damon stuff, okay? I'm anti Ben Affleck. Matt Damon, just joking. Go ahead.
Sounds good. So I did 10 years in construction. So I did one as APM, and then I ran and developed the virtual design and construction group for a mid-tier GC here in Boston. So it was a great, fun job. Probably changed the trajectory of my career for the better. They knew that I had rolled out Revit at 2 architecture firms. I was teaching Revit at the college level, so they decided to give me a shot, and it was definitely a career-changing moment for me, and loved the construction tech. And we were early adopters of OpenSpace. We were probably one of the first 25 customers. We were the first enterprise customer to go full volume. And I came across OpenSpace by, I'll start this by saying I grew to love this guy, but he was my CSM for another product that I had a really hard time with. So I gave him a hard time, obviously, about it. And then he switched to another company as a sales rep, and he called me, and I don't think I called him back. And then he called me over and over saying, I got to check out this OpenSpace thing. I got to check out this OpenSpace thing. I'm coming to Boston. Give me 5 minutes. So finally, I'm like, sure, I'll give you 5 minutes. And at that time, we had 2 large-scale residential buildings being built, and they were capturing with 360 cameras. This was back in 2017. But what they were doing is they were going through, writing the number of the unit in the room somewhere, taking a 360 photo in each unit, going back to the trailer, doing where's Waldo to find that room number in there, and then file them away into the folders. Tons and tons of hours of time to do that just to track the progress.
Right.
So this guy, he finally convinced me to come in for 5 minutes, and literally in 5 minutes, I'm like, shit, I got to buy something from this guy. And that was OpenSpace, and that was my introduction to it. And then, we did 1 or 2 pilots with it, probably like your company did, and it took off really quickly, and we started to scale it out across the board.
That's great. So Tom, you're sounds like you're a persistent sales guy. Is that right?
Oh, it wasn't Tom. It wasn't Tom.
It was a different Tom.
Oh, different Tom. Sorry. Okay.
But
well,
yeah.
you still, I know you are anyway, so that's okay. But that's great to hear the background. And, from the website, here's some more information. The heart of our technology is the OpenSpace Spatial AI engine. We launched our proprietary algorithms for the industry based on nearly 2 decades of combined research and development that started with the founders' work at MIT. Now, as the market leader in reality capture, spatial computing, and artificial intelligence for builders, OpenSpace continues to improve and deliver powerful, reliable, simple-to-use products. So, just for the lay person here that may be listening, or someone who hasn't discovered your product, what exactly does OpenSpace do? How does it work for a construction team on site?
Yeah, certainly. Maybe if you give me a little bit of access, if I'm able to share my screen here, that may assist. Give me 1 hot second. There we go. And I'll be talking. I know you guys do a bit of video and a lot of audio as well, so I'll talk you guys through it. But I think to answer that question, you have to go back in time a little bit. Obviously, construction, it's an incredibly physical industry. And in order to understand what's going on, you can always call someone out on site. They can try to explain it with words, but as I'm sure you're aware, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So
yeah, definitely.
A lot of what the majority of the industry is still using is just cell phone snapshots, taking a whole bunch of pictures, saving them onto an album. Maybe you're going to slap them onto a project management system, which is great, but you're not necessarily getting the full context of exactly what's going on out on site. And then when you actually need to go back and understand, hey, what was beneath the slabs, what was behind the walls, takes a whole lot of time to organize those. You probably have a million different IMG or JPEG files that you're gonna go sorting through to find that needle in the haystack. The next step up from that would be a manual 360 or a laser scanning solution. Those are great, especially if you're trying to get an as-built of a particular building, understand the current conditions. But really where those drop off a little bit is oftentimes you need to set up a tripod, you need to wait several minutes for it to scan an area, then you need to move it 10 feet to the other side of the room to get any particular angles or areas that were scanned. So to capture a massive residential or commercial or healthcare building, it's going to take you days to actually get that true as-built of the site. And that right there is really the niche where OpenSpace comes on in. And essentially, all we are doing is just leveraging off the shelf 360 cameras, very similar to GoPros. And all the field team has to do with those cameras is just turn them on. They would connect to those cameras the same way you would connect to a Wi-Fi or a Bluetooth connection. You would open up the OpenSpace app on your phone or tablet, and then the only input that we need from field teams out there out on site is just your initial starting location on the floor plans.
Mm.
And then you just press record and walk around out there out on site. So on the back end, essentially what our system is doing is everywhere you're walking around out on site, we're going to be overlaying and dropping down a breadcrumb trail of 360 images every single half second. All those images that you've been taking are going to be automatically timestamped, dated, and geo-referenced onto the floor plan. So the closest analogy that we always make here and give is if you've used Google Street View, essentially what we're providing is a Google Street View to allow you to remotely track progress throughout all phases of construction, from foundations to superstructure to envelope going in to partitions being framed out, walls being boarded, finishes going in. So really just having a full record of job site conditions to be able to see exactly what's going on your sites there.
And talk a little bit more about the AI
Sure.
part of this, because that's something that people don't really quite have a grasp for. It's great that we get it. You're walking around, you're getting the video. What is the AI is actually doing?
Yeah, certainly. So on the back end, and may make sense to, I'll give you the layman's answer to all this. If you reach out to any of our founders, they're all PhDs out of MIT. They all have doctorates in computer vision, machine learning. So we meet up once a year with the company. I always try and corner them, and then they talk to me about the Pythagorean theorem, and gets a little bit deep. But to explain it to the average listener on your show here, essentially what's going on is all of these 360 cameras have an internal accelerometer inside of them. So we have the data to know whether you're going front, back, left, right. So we're leveraging a lot of the inertial data from the cameras. And then we're also leveraging a lot of the same tech that you'll actually find in self-driving cars, like Tesla's, which is called simultaneous location and mapping. And then we're using a very sparse point cloud as well to help triangulate your position out there out on site. So what's going on the back end, and this is a little bit of a look behind the curtain here, as to how the meatballs are made. But really all that's going on is that the vision engine is reading the images and all of that data from the camera. They're reading the floor plans, and then there's an algorithm that meshes and scales and overlays those two inputs together into really just an easy to navigate user interface and platform to allow you to get around. And as you start capturing your site more and more, the system only learns and builds upon itself and kicks out those captures for you in quicker and quicker turnaround times.
Yeah,
Wow,
and the great thing, as you know, in construction, time is crucial, right? So you think something like this, after you upload it, it's going to take hours and hours to process. We get our captures back in a median of 10 minutes. So you do a 20-minute walk on your floor, you upload that OpenSpace, you have that path on your plan, and the image is back within 10 minutes.
That's amazing. And because we, there's all sorts of reasons why you would want this in place, and it's different for everybody. As a construction manager or project manager, you're going to want to communicate with your team on what's going on down there. That's a great tool to use. We had older client developers that are kind of like ready for retirement. They didn't go to site anymore, so they had this technology where they could always see what's happening inside a suite, and it was very good for that purpose. And then also, as at the end of the day, in a performance audit situation, those are performance audits that are done after the condo's built. You're able to peel back the layers of the final product and see, like, for example, if there was a leak somewhere, you're able to sort of peel back the layers, say, hey, there's a pipe behind that wall. That's probably where the leak is coming from. So it's a good investigative tool for developers for warranty purposes. Do you know if any developers are passing this on to the Condo Corp later on, or providing access to the Condo Corp?
Yeah, certainly. So one of the great things about OpenSpace is all the data is yours to own and keep. So if you're building a massive building, at the very least, you would want a true record of everything that's been installed. Obviously, you're going to want to see where, blocking locations are, where, plumbing lines, where any sort of MEP systems are hidden beneath slabs, if you're dealing with sub-slab conduit, anything above the walls, above the ceilings, behind the walls there. So at the end of the job, one of the things we provide is a full offline deliverable of your entire building. So you can save it to a pen drive, you can save it onto your own computer, you can save it onto one of your local servers, and you'll have access to all of that data essentially in perpetuity. So even if OpenSpace or some act of God goes out of business, you'll still have access to all that data that's been taken up.
And that would be great for property management companies to get that data to view it later on. But at the same time, there's probably associated liabilities with that, and it should be like a transparent system where you pass it on and that's it, and everybody agrees to work nicely together. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work like that. What about liabilities and stuff like that? Do you find developers are saying, hey, this is my info, it's for me, or perhaps maybe the Condo Corp signs off on the project once you're done the warranty period, and then you can pass on that information? Have you heard anything about that?
We're the ones just providing the data to the whoever the license holder is there. So
yeah, of course,
we try and stay out of much of those discussions as much as we can here. So essentially, whoever's in charge of the OpenSpace license is able to share as much or as little as they
want to. Like. Yeah, but no, I just think it's a great tool to use in perpetuity. It's
I think you bring up a good point too, because I always joke that, or say that OpenSpace is kind of a relationship builder too. So there are those arguments that happen. What was there? What wasn't there? People, you've been on site where people are arguing across the table, just saying what it was, but nobody has proof. Litigation's expensive. OpenSpace can be used as that tool to kind of stop the argument. Who's right? Who's wrong? There's no fighting.
Yeah, that's true. That's good.
Like a picture's worth 1,000 words. You can save a lot of money in that litigation. You can save a lot of time with those arguments. So I always say that it's a relationship builder when people are worried about it hurting them in the end. And we had that same thing. There was some fear that it would be used against us when we started sharing it with our owners and with our designers. But in the end, it ended up helping us more than it hurt us by far.
Good point. And I guess that's why image capturing and site documentation is so important in today's construction environment. And I think we've outlined a few of the most important points there. That was one of my questions, but I think we beat the question. But is there anything else that's great about this during the construction? I mean, sure, there's probably a ton of uses. It's integrated with building information management. I guess that would be correct. You can integrate it with all the new CAD software programs and stuff like that, and look for interferences and issues, and making sure that people are building the proper way. I think Thomas showed me he was toggling between design and actual construction, and I think that was a really cool thing that I saw. So I guess you're gonna show me that right now.
I'll let the VDC wizard himself, Mr. Settino, jump in and answer that question there.
Yeah, so we do have the BIM compare, so you can load up your models, you can load up your point clouds. We also have these saved views that makes it really easy to get to locations. And again, you're saying, you can see what has been installed versus, what's supposed to be installed.
Yeah, exactly.
And it really just helps with giving this technology to people in the field who might not be able to, one, they might not have a license, right? The licenses are expensive for all that software, and two, be trained up on it. If they know how to look at a plan and click on a line or click on the image or the path, they know how to navigate BIM now. With these saved views, it really extends that usability. I always had a superintendent who just wanted to see the architectural versus the mechanical model, and that's all he was concerned about. So whatever we were using for BIM, I would save a view for him for structural versus MEP. And I think I have one in here. And I would just tell him, you go to that view, and that's going to be the view that how you want to see the model. So
that's MEP, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, et cetera, et cetera. See, that's pretty cool.
Exactly. And then you can also upload your point clouds now to here. So given the ability for, again, people who might not have access to that technology or the knowledge to be able to use it. Now I'm a field engineer, I'm an APM, I can see, there's existing conduit here that wasn't in the coordination model. Now I can see based on the laser scan that there's a clash there. And I, as somebody who doesn't know how to use this software, can now communicate to the coordination team that there's something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. You go, hey, you screwed up over there.
Yep.
I got it on camera. Just kidding. So do you guys does your product integrate with other software programs? I think we mentioned, I guess, CAD, AutoCAD, and all the other. Well, why don't you tell me, because it sounds like I'm getting stuck here. Do you guys integrate with Procore right now?
We have Procore, Autodesk Construction Cloud, PlanGrid, BIM 360, and Revisto.
Nice.
Right.
Are you guys going to buy Procore or take over Procore? You guys should do that.
Someday.
If that were the case, I'd probably be doing this podcast from a yacht here.
There you go.
Oh, I see.
Unfortunately, I think Procore
is bigger than you guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Do they want to buy your software program?
No idea.
Can't say.
I don't know if that's the right move at the moment. I think playing nice with people and integrating, that's one of our core things that we try and concentrate. There's a lot of construction tech fatigue, right? There's a lot of tools out there right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're definitely ones that are central to how people work in the field and what they use day to day. And some of those things are like Procore and ACC and all those. So we feel that the more we integrate with those, people don't want point solutions. So they want them integrated with their core tools that they use on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think that's important. So I'm glad you guys are open with other programs. I think that's the way to be, because you want your platform across you're going to sell your product more for sure.
Yep.
And I think there's so many advantages. That's good to, and then from the website again, you're capturing your site at an unmatched speed and simplicity, and you're understanding your job like never before, and you're taking action to keep your job on track. Talk to us a little bit about, your communications on your system. I understand that there's a bunch of products that you offer. So just again on your, you have the field notes that you're able to sort of send RFIs out through. And is that integrated in Procore? Because that's something that we use. We use our RFIs in Procore, but I guess I can use the app or the integration app where I'm able to send the RFI right through from OpenSpace through Procore. Is that right?
Yeah, most certainly is. And think that actually ties into a good story, and this is actually one of the inception of why I started using OpenSpace out on site. So I was doing a 26-story luxury high-rise apartment building. We had obviously a very condensed schedule, and we had a storm that comes by once in a decade, just as we were finishing up sealing up a TPO roof on level 24, I believe it was. But at the meantime, at the bottom of the job, we're trying to accelerate things. We had already rocked out levels 4 through 10. So finishes are starting to go in, flooring, carpeting, kitchen cabinets, countertops, plumbing fixtures, trying to move along. Unfortunately, couple inches of rain in just a matter of minutes overwhelmed the roof, blew through 3 temp roofs higher up in the job, and then ended up having a giant leak throughout the active building. This is one of the messy truths of construction. Oftentimes, to make an omelet, you need to break a few eggs, and it's not always perfect. So unfortunately, had to do a lot of demo and a lot of rework, tearing out a lot of these finishes out on site. And lo and behold, we're going to send in a large claim. The owner wanted to see exactly what was going on, and I was the superintendent out on site, tasked with going in and tracking all the demo and all the rework. So that was I was originally just the guy taking those little snapshots on my phone, bringing them back to the office, logging them in a big Excel file. And I was saying that there had to be a quicker way of doing it. It was taking up every single second of my week out on site, and that 40-hour process got slimmed down to just an hour or two of walking every day. Just right into each and every unit, and then you have the full 360 view. But to circle back around and weave back into your point there, Nick, if there are any sort of particular issues, items, something you want to make a note of out on site, hey, let's take a look at this facade detail. You can actually drop in what we call field notes. So those are going to automatically georeference and locate exactly where the issue was taken out on site.
Yeah.
And then all that, you can set statuses, you can email it around to folks, you can create customizable tags, due dates. Maybe you're dropping in a field note for handover of your mechanical penthouse. You want to add in some O&M manuals or any sort of description. So all of those field notes, I just created one on your job there. You can see it popped on up. But all of those field notes can be pushed back and forth between the OpenSpace system and then larger project management systems like a Procore or a PlanGrid or an ACC. So you can actually link these with the 360 context to newer existing RFIs, newer existing observations, or newer existing deficiency items.
Awesome.
And then teams are actually in Procore. There's no silos in the data. They can use their Procore credentials to be able to sign on into OpenSpace. And then we're just an embedded app within the larger Procore marketplace, as you can see right here.
Incredible. That's great. And that's what we want and that's really what it's all about. It's about using the technology to better understand your construction project, to communicate issues along the way. And that field note is a very strong, powerful tool, it looks like. And so what else do you have? So I'm reading here, OpenSpace Capture, BIM Plus, and OpenSpace Track. Are these different products that are offered here?
Yeah, certainly. Everything build, and Settino, I may kick this off to you as the tech consigliatory down there.
Of course.
But all the products build off on the foundation of OpenSpace. and leveraging that massive amount of 360 image data. And then there's essentially additional ways we can leverage the data, either by using it to feed further into the spatial AI and give you automated percentages complete and rates of material installation on your site, or once again feed it into your model and actually do model overlays into the 360 existing conditions, so you can compare the design intent to what's actually being installed out on site. Maybe
Very
Adam,
amazing.
want to jump on in there?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think what I talk about a lot is and one of the reasons I came here and why we went pretty quickly into being an enterprise customer is there's such a strong foundation just with the 360 captures and the ease of the use and the scalability of it and the amount of data you're getting. That's just a strong foundation. Now we can build these products on top of them. But what we really try to do, and one of our core beliefs, is really to like build these tools for the field. So there's a bunch of cool stuff we can do, but sometimes it's like, well, that's too complicated. That's not going to be really usable. So it's a combination of this really high-end advanced technology that we're able to do with this computer vision and AI, but then pairing it with stuff that's actually useful for people in the field and that they can actually use without having to spend weeks of learning how to use a software. It's an interesting and tough challenge to face, and that's what makes it fun.
Fair enough. Really good point. I mean, I think do companies have problems with consistency getting out there in the field? Because I know there's a lot of people like that. I mean, we hire them and fire them essentially, but we try not to fire people. But, you get this lack of consistency sometimes with the field staff. Does that happen at all, or you don't find that happening too much? I mean,
Settino,
you got to be consistent with this thing.
Maybe I'll let you take this, as you were the one mandating and disseminating OpenSpace down at your company. You could talk
out of all the technologies I rolled out over 9 years, OpenSpace was probably one of the easiest ones to implement. I had, a gentleman out in the field who was about to retire. He could barely use email. He was capturing his site daily with OpenSpace.
Yeah.
I found the biggest challenge was just getting somebody, construction was supposed to be big and tough people. And the biggest challenge was getting them to look a little silly with a 360 camera on their hard hat. They're like, I can't wear that around the site.
Yeah, they're gonna get they're gonna get teased.
Yeah, I think we don't really have too much trouble with consistency because it is easy to use. You're just going out and doing your normal walks. Would you rather go out there and take a bunch of photos and have to spend hours, filing those away, or just go do a 10-minute walk?
Well, ultimately, you just got to pick that person who's going to have to do it like 2 or 3 times a week. Is it 2 times a week, 3 times a week?
We recommend at least once a week, but we have teams that are capturing daily.
Oh, wow.
And I think it really comes down to too, once the other members of the team find the value in it and see it, which is pretty quick, there's incentive for that person to go walk, because the team's going to be like, why aren't you walking? So instead of having somebody manage that person, it's bringing value to the rest of the team. So if that person doesn't walk, they're letting everybody down in a way. So
then you're wasting your money.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're not consistently walking through there, but it can be an issue, because you have sites that get so busy and they say, no, I don't have time for this shit. Yeah. It happens all the time. Construction can be overwhelming, and people just, they start off doing it properly, and then they're not consistent. Yeah, that's what I find out in the field sometimes.
Yeah, and I think for any company that's trying to roll out technology, you need to get the upper level buy-in. If it's coming from the executive level, people are going to do it, and that happens really quick with OpenSpace. We had a 25-story high-rise building, and it was completely done, trying to get final occupancy. The fire stopping inspector realized he missed 75 locations. So if we were just taking photos with our cell phones,
we would have missed them all.
We would have found 3 or 4 of those maybe after hours and hours of searching, right? because even if you get to a date or something, it's IMG 5437 for the images. You have no idea what they are. With OpenSpace, they were to get 50 of those passed just with the images really quickly, because you just go to that location, you just tick back in time, open up the wall, there's a fire stopping, good, where's the next one? Good. And then the other 25, they can narrow in, because as-built are never 100% correct. They can narrow in, just cut a small hole and inspect it, because maybe it wasn't captured on a day that the fire stopping was there. But that alone saved $30,000. An executive hears that, they're going to be mandating OpenSpace on all their projects.
Like, this product has so much potential. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And think of it like this. You know how you do PDIs for suites? Imagine you go walk around with OpenSpace AI and your technology gets so good that AI can make a list of all the deficiencies in the space within minutes. Is that something you guys are exploring? Like, that's just one tool. Like, you could do that, and you can have all these integrations like that. It's something that you just realized right there. Instead of, you can ask eventually, and I don't know if this is going to happen, but I'm just brainstorming here. But you said, look, I want to search all my my penetrations, and you can type something into your system, and it'll discover if you're missing any fire stopping. Imagine you can do that. Right now, you can't do that, right?
Are we good to share the image library and the large language models?
Yeah, I'll bring that up. There's a little another sneak behind the curtain here. But what you're saying is true. Like, everybody's kind of trying to figure out how to do that. And we're trying to, Tom, you might have to describe to the podcast audience what they're actually seeing here. But the challenge is a lot of the false positives right now. But this is kind of and with that, we're trying to work on ways to use AI to maybe not highlight all those, because then you're wasting time with a lot of false positives, but guiding you to where you might want to look, so that speed up in that process as the AI gets better and better. But this is a little sneak behind the curtain of how we're trying to apply our current technology with the 360 images just to normal photos. So for people listening, this is kind of looks like a point cloud on the screen right now. And as you hover over segments, all the other dots are lighting up. And what this is really highlighting is like images. So where drywall is, where storefront is. And this is the AI kind of, it's like an image cluster. It's clustering the images of like types together.
Interesting.
And then what you're not seeing here is, and then you can start to add context like stacked on floor, and it finds specific drywall stacked on floor. Then what you're not seeing here is another cluster of locations. So once you add that in, now you're getting the machine learning aspect of what's in the image, but then you're also getting the spatial context of the machine learning of where it actually lives.
So is that available now, or is that something you guys are working on?
No, this is something we're working on right now.
Oh my God! So am I the first person talking about this?
One of the first.
One of the first.
One of the first few thousand.
Now another way. So I'm going to give you some ideas here. I've got these great ideas, as you can tell. But another thing is that AI can capture your like the progress and compare it to the schedule, and determine all sorts of things from that. You can see whether you're ahead of schedule, behind schedule, what needs to be done to mitigate the scheduling issues. Are you guys doing that as well?
Once again, Nick, maybe you should
be hired as a consultant.
As a little side hustle, be a consultant or join the engineering and development teams here. But to give you a little background there, that's really the holy grail of construction is tracking progress, seeing how you're doing versus billings, seeing how you're doing versus labor out on site, and comparing really all of those critical path and key milestones in the job to the schedule there.
Yeah.
So what we've been able
and I'm going to interrupt because I just got another great idea. Imagine that AI can take a snapshot at the end of the month and determine all the billings. You don't even have to, the companies don't even have to send their billings. and see how that would actually, and they say, hey, you've done this amount of work, that's how much you get paid. That's the value. That's a good idea too. Hire me.
Full of them. Full of them.
There we go. What's your rate? Yeah. So essentially, what we've done is build upon the core system. And AI is great for specific scopes of work out on site, pure AI. So there is a process called semantic segmentation where the AI is able to read a lot of pixels from an image and actually give it a category or assign it to a task there. So in essence, what we've been able to do in-house is teach the system to be able to see and understand various scopes of work out on site. So for systems that are easily identifiable, like drywall installations, framing, pre-rock tops, drywall being hung, drywall being taped, hard lid ceilings, acoustical ceilings, concrete slabs, concrete columns. The system is able to easily identify exactly what's going on out on site and then give you those percentages complete.
Wow.
We also recently, at the beginning of really the end of 2024, but it's been starting to go live around the beginning of 2025 here on active projects in Canada, is we've been partnering with a system called Disperse, where we are opening up an API and feeding all of that OpenSpace imagery from the OpenSpace platform into Disperse. And that's where Disperse comes into play, where there's certain scopes, especially more complex, say overhead MEP systems, where the statistical significance of the AI starts to fail. And that's where you do need a hybrid solution, so that Disperse also has a team of QA QC engineers who are trained architects, trained engineers, and they're doing a lot of the spot checks and also assisting in the progress tracking. And what that hybrid approach has been able to allow us to do is expand beyond just some of those larger critical path scopes and really extend our tracking to virtually anything that's being installed out on site.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Superstructure, envelope, MEPs, fit outs, finishes.
Is this is it you working with Disperse? Is that something that's ongoing and in development? Is that or is it available right now?
This has been rolled out at the I believe the beginning of 2025, so it's fully live now.
Wow. I got to hear more about this later on. So, guys, can you show me how many projects you guys have? Tom, you showed me that amazing global view of all the projects in all over the world. I think that would be something cool to show. Adam or Tom?
Yeah, Tom, if you want to bring up the globe, if you have it. But while that's up, I mean, I think this really speaks to our scalability, right? And our ease of use. And that's what we really concentrate on. We put a lot of time and effort and money into making it fast, making it usable.
Wow. You even have projects in Greenland.
There we go.
Your 51st state. Your new 51st state.
Just to put this in a little context, it's pretty crazy when you look at the overall stuff we've processed and the number of projects we've been on in the life of OpenSpace just since like 2017 and how much that's increased over the last couple of years. But just last week, we had 22,500 videos processed. That equaled 112 days of video.
Wow.
On 4,700 sites. And all those videos were processed in a median of 10 minutes with 21,000 active users last week. And that's just last week.
Okay. So can you pan the globe so we can see what's going on?
Certainly can.
So a lot of work in North America, in Europe,
a little bit in the Middle East there.
A little bit in the Middle East. Japan looks solid. Look at that.
There we go.
Nothing in. How about China? You got China work, Chinese work?
Got a little bit of China going on.
Good. That's nice.
Got
In Africa, I saw it was not so great. Not too much in Russia. Nothing in Siberia.
not too much, unfortunately. Usually just some of the major
Metropolitan areas, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it's I think it's almost 100 different countries. I think it was 92 different countries
This is
since we last spoke. But definitely some of the major metro areas that's where you see it. So places like Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Vancouver. This is my baby right here with Toronto. I mean, you can just see the density of the points. Looks like a little Monet painting there for anyone.
It looks amazing. I mean, there's so many reasons to use this product. I think we went through a lot of them today. It's 95% faster, saves 50% on travel costs, achieve 20% fewer scheduling delays, and finishing 10 to 15% under budget. Are you guys guaranteeing that, or it's free?
Settino might. I unfortunately cannot.
I'm just joking, guys.
Each job is obviously its own niche use case, and so once again, just a super simple platform to deploy. Sometimes it'll be just a great to have to keep and expand those relationships with subcontractors, developers, general contractors, bringing all stakeholders together. Others, it may save you $500,000 on a claim. So it
amazing,
Yeah,
just
sure.
incredible. So, guys, I want to just say thank you. This has been amazing, and hang on, stop the music, Mike. Hang on. I just want to say thank you, guys, and I think we captured a lot of stuff here today. Obviously, we can keep going, but I just want to hear final thoughts from both of you. Just incredible. Are you happy where you're at? And do you see some amazing things coming down the pipeline for OpenSpace AI? Let's hear from both of you guys, Tom and Adam.
Settino, take it away.
Yeah, I would say this is going to be a big year. We have a good 3-4 things that are game changers that you're going to be seeing rolled out the next year. We have a big announcement coming May 14th.
Oh, wow.
Keep your eyes to the sky for that.
Amazing.
And
you're working with Elon Musk, right?
just look up. You'll be good.
Look up.
And then there's a few other things coming. Obviously, we can't talk about them yet, but there's actually one technology beyond that's also going to be another game changer for the industry, just like our 360 video capture.
Well, I'm going to hear about it first because we're friends, and
there we go. Well, you'll be the first we call.
That's great, Tom.
That's pretty much what I would like to expound upon Adam's points. It's definitely a crucial moment in construction. You're seeing a lot of people are moving from an old school paper-based environment to a lot of digital technologies, be it Procore, be it OpenSpace, and really just streamlining a lot of everything that's going on out on site and making things easier for those folks actually installing installing drywall and placing. So
amazing. Mike's cutting you off here. But I just want to say you guys are definitely going to hire me as a consultant. I know that's coming down the pipeline too. That's one of your major announcements. And maybe you guys
I believe you also owe us a few signed copies of Battle of the Skyscrapers and Building Toronto Skyline.
I do.
Wait,
you got it.
Coming. Nice.
And maybe you guys will sponsor this podcast because it was a lot of fun and you guys did great. So thanks again, guys. You did amazing. Great information. And I'm going to pass it on to Mr. Mike, Toronto Mike.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
And thank you for listening to Building Toronto's Skyline, a podcast exploring the current state of Toronto's condominium industry, proudly brought to you by Fusion Corp Developments, Inc. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you again. Normally I say in 2 weeks, but we're going back to back, baby, like the Blue Jays in 92 and 93.
We won't have any women mooning us, though.
We'll see you then.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers. Thanks, Nick. Always a pleasure.
Ciao.